It's time for MacBreak Weekly, episode 173. Coming up in just a little bit, Google and Apple go head-to-head in January. Nokia takes Apple to court, and I'm on a Mac. MacBreak Weekly is next.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for MacBreak Weekly is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com. This is MacBreak Weekly, episode 173 for December 29th, 2009. 2 words, dance belt. MacBreak Weekly is brought to you by the new voice-activated Sync, featuring hands-free calling, music and podcast search, and turn-by-turn navigation. Available exclusively on Ford, Lincoln, and Mercury vehicles. For more details, visit syncmyride.com. And by Squarespace.com, the fast and easy way to publish a high-quality website or blog. For a free trial and 10% off your new account, go to squarespace.com/MacBreak. And by Audible.com. To download a free audiobook of your choice, go to audible.com/MacBreak. It's time for MacBreak Weekly, the show that covers all things Macintosh, including the Macintosh, as well as the iPod and the iPhone. And ladies and gentlemen, here he is for the Chicago Sun-Times. Looking good, fueled by big Whoppers. What is it? A Whopper Jr.?
It is a Whopper Jr.,
Supersized.
Not multiple Whoppers. You guys have been talking about your own diet and health and fitness tips. Mine has been to add the season 1 of Man vs. Food to my Roku box that I have in the kitchen. And when I'm cooking food and when I'm eating meals, that's on it. I'm like, you know what? Maybe I won't have the whole pork tenderloin. Maybe I'll just leave half of it for tomorrow.
A little less of that. Andy Ihnatko from the Chicago Sun-Times and the Celestial Waste of Bandwidth, CWOB.com. Good to see you, Andrew. Also, the wasting away Alex Lindsay, who is... Have you made your goal, Alex?
No. In fact, I lost a little ground. I lost a little ground over my mother-in-law was in town.
It was Christmas.
Oh my goodness!
You got to eat.
It's the best meal of the year.
And people keep sending. People are undermining us because they keep sending us food. We've got cookies. We've got
those
treats.
aren't a temptation. The only thing that's really a temptation is my mother-in-law's cooking. She's from Louisiana.
Ooh,
it is
red beans and rice time.
Oh, it's
black-eyed peas for New Year's.
Black-eyed peas and sweet potatoes and incredibly cooked meat.
Does she make sweet potato pie?
No, she makes sweet potato that's better than pie. That's all I'm saying. I mean, it's
that's better than pie.
Oh, it is so good. And so I'm afraid that I indulged, and now I'm back on the wagon. I fell off the wagon, back on the wagon.
Yeah. I noticed you were eating out of a little can of dog food yesterday.
It's cat food.
Cat food.
It is not dog food. It is cat food, and it's very good cat food.
We traded cat food.
We did. Your cat food is better than my cat food.
Yeah. Equally tiny portion, however.
But that's the key to the operation.
If there were an operation, I would get the operation, believe me. Item 1, AT&T announces iPhone too good for you, New York City. AT&T stops selling the iPhone online for 2 days, and now it's online again. And I don't know. It seems to me like a tempest in a teapot. What happened, Andy Ihnatko?
Well, according to multiple sources, it's you can track where this started. Ground zero was, I think, an email to the Consumerist blog explaining a experience that someone had trying to order a phone online through AT&T.com and being told that no, this is not available in any New York area code or zip code that he plugged into the site. So he got in touch with customer service, and customer service said, "Oh, well, I can see why your area is not ready for the iPhone. It does not have enough cell towers." And of course, this was a good thing to start emailing people about, and that got blogged and retweeted just about all over the place. AT&T started to backpedal, saying, "No, it's not that there isn't enough coverage in the New York area. It's because we've been having a lot of fraud online with orders shipping to the New York area, and so we shut it down for a little while." Meanwhile, Apple was saying, "Well, no, you can go and we'll sell you a phone. We got phones. Come on here. It makes a great Christmas gift."
I think if you're going to start trusting AT&T customer service reps, you got a problem anyway, right? I mean, come on.
It's not like they're the most informed folks.
So, and AT&T, they said
it wasn't
this wasn't the problem, right?
Yeah, I don't think we'll ever know what the problem was. They're claiming that it was because there was online fraud, but that seems like it might even be true, but it's the safest thing they could say at this point. The reality is that online sales have been resumed, pretty much just over and done with. And so if there was ever a really good reason why that was going on, we'll never know what it was.
Well, the thing is that I think the conspiracy comes from the conspiracy theory arises from the fact that AT&T has been making such a fuss about trying to get iPhone users to use their phones less. It's all happened at the same time. So the timing of this was particularly bad, given that AT&T, it seems like, can't handle the push of iPhones. I know I thought about this later after talking about it the other day, on another show, that if AT&T just fully subsidized the iPhone, it would take over the market. And I suddenly realized that that's probably not what they want. What they want is not sell any more than they're selling.
Aren't we heading into the year, 2010, where AT&T loses its exclusive? Isn't this the year that AT&T loses its grip?
I think everyone's been guessing, and no one knows. Yeah. I think that the problem that AT&T has is that someone asked me over actually this morning about why doesn't AT&T just let why don't they let other people share the pain, and take some of the iPhone? The problem is that for the first time ever, I think people are far more attached to their phone than they are to their carrier. In fact, they dislike the carrier just a little bit less than they like their iPhone.
Colleen's been doing tests because we're going to be using a 3G network in Las Vegas for CES, and she says that the bandwidth she's getting on AT&T is the best of all of the. Now that's here, not in Vegas, but here in the Bay Area is the best of all of them. Upstream bandwidth, fantastic upstream.
Upstream, but the question is whether the other side of that though is consistency and downstream.
It's not consistent. We know that
because I know that on the way, on the bus ride down to San Francisco when I'm on the bus, my Verizon MiFi is which is roughly using the same thing that the phones would be using, is much more stable than what I'm getting.
And that's kind of somewhat more important, maybe than just upstream bandwidth. But from the point of view of streaming from CES, we'd like the best upstream bandwidth. Of course, AT&T doesn't really have much of a presence in Vegas. And if you get hundreds of thousands of geeks there with their iPhones, it's not going to.
See, that's another problem. That's one of the reasons why I like my MiFi. Just on principle, it's good to have your data connection separate from your phone connection. So at least between between AT&T and Verizon, I think I'm confident that no matter where I am, and even if I'm in an expo hall with 1.5 million iPhone users, I'll still be able to get my email and stuff.
What is it like? I can't remember. How does the iPhone work at Mac World Expo, where presumably there are more iPhones per square inch than any other time?
Pretty damn poorly. I've had situations where I've tried to get a call through, but get drop connections or can't make the call. Bandwidth, which was perfectly fine when I'm 10 or 15 miles outside of town, is just suddenly terrible when I'm inside that one cell site. It's gotten better than it used to be because they've done a lot better load balancing. But the difference in many situations, the difference between having this Verizon box and having an AT&T USB modem plugged into my laptop has been just so obvious that I don't even borrow anybody's AT&T card anymore.
I'm sorry. Alex just broke his microphone.
Let me know if that high-pitched sound is gone now that I've thrown the mic around.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Andy. We weren't paying any attention. We were messing around in here.
That's okay. Once again, you're leading the audience.
We're just messing around.
So anyway, if you just send the first 100 emails to that address, we'll get $50 from me.
Oh,
so those of you who are listening,
rewind.
Oh, damn it! I forgot.
There is rewind.
You're recording this.
Well, you definitely get into a situation in San Francisco fairly regularly where you see 5 bars. It seems like you're getting something, and you start making phone calls, and they just
it's an illusion.
Well, they just drop. It's not so, that
but
it goes
do
down.
Drop calls related to 3G, or is that a separate thing?
I think it's related to too many people connecting at one time. The only other place I saw that before San Francisco, the only other place I saw that was in Zimbabwe.
Yeah. We have third world connectivity.
I've experienced. I was like, I've seen that before.
Yeah. And it is funny because you do hear stories about how each of these different carriers tend to set up their network to get the result that they want to be able to advertise. One service will say, "Oh, well, we lead the nation in completed calls." Well, that's because you have set up your network so that it will not reject marginal connections because you want to be able to say, "Yes, we connected you. We just lost the signal later on." and then there are other people who want to get the fewest drop calls, which means that you won't be able to get that 30 seconds to say, "Hi, I'm stranded by the side of the road. Please pick me up," and then you lose the call. So there's so much monkeying around with these figures. It's almost like the gigahertz wars and the megahertz wars in CPUs, where people realize that that's the number they want to advertise for, so they engineer their entire system to produce the numbers they want.
Well, anyway, we'll find out when we get to Vegas. Vegas has this new Sprint thing, this Clear, which I think is WiMAX.
It'll be very interesting to see how that works.
And
well, WiMAX, it should be really fast.
Well, yeah. I think WiMAX's chief strength is you can have a lot of people have decent speed as opposed to really fast. But I think it guarantees 1.5 megabits. I don't know. We'll see. I'll find out. Sprint's having some event on Wednesday and for their 4G, and it's an invitation-only event. And traditionally, when Sprint does that, they give you crap.
Oh,
I'm hoping they're going to give me a 4G modem just in time for our live broadcast the next day from CES. So speaking of events, we got 2 events coming up. January 5th, apparently, Google's having an event at its Mountain View headquarters. January 5th,
in the morning,
the day before Macworld Expo begins. Probably the morning. They say it's an Android announcement. It's a big Android announcement. Now, that's the day, the 5th, as you may remember.
Are you going to go? Are you?
I'll try. That's the day. No, actually, I'm going to have to send you because we're doing MacBreak Weekly on January 5th, of course.
I can check in.
We could do it. We can do live coverage during MacBreak Weekly, but that's the day that everybody says the Nexus One, the Google phone, will be available for sale. Now, some are saying it's invitation-only sale. I think that's an event to go to. I think you might find something under your seat, like a golden ticket.
I'm ready.
Willy Wonka.
I'm ready.
And then
they're not going to invite me. They're going to invite you.
No, I haven't gotten an invite yet. And then, I'm sorry, not Macworld. Sorry, day before CES. Macworld's in February.
Thank goodness.
January 26th, everybody says that Apple has reserved the Yerba Buena Center
for a couple days. For a few days.
A few days.
3-hour tour.
Well, they'd have to have a couple of days ahead to set up and to roll Steve in, and then.
You think he's living in a pod now?
Yeah,
he's in a like Walt Disney. Just break him out.
He's in a hyperbaric chamber. Yeah, and I would be if I were him. No, in fact, we were talking about this on Twitter, and the consensus among some Apple pundits is this might be Steve's last big announcement. Is this tablet? Certainly, you saw the New York Times article that said Steve Jobs approves. He's finally satisfied with the tablet. The New York Times. This is quoting an insider at Apple. They also quoted an insider at Apple saying, "You will be very surprised by the user interface. It is not what you think." It's leading some to speculate maybe it's a camera where you wave at it. Hello. Hey, iSlate. It's me, Leo. I don't know what that means. Maybe like a Tom Cruise Minority Report. You go, next page. Next page. That'd be kind of fun.
It would be fun for 40 seconds. The question is whether you're going to actually be able to use it on
You don't really want to sell a product that makes people look like morons while they're using it. I think that's probably...
Bluetooth headset.
Oh.
That's a Bluetooth, yeah.
Yeah.
They've already figured that one out.
Yeah, that's true. That little Borg light is the dead giveaway, the blue Borg light over your ear.
Yeah.
So, so there's some big announcements coming. This is January. It's interesting because, remember, Apple eschewed Mac World Expo because they didn't want to be forced into a big announcement, and here they are making a big announcement on January 26th.
What I think it's also, part of the, I know that part of the upset for all of us that were part of Macworld and now with the CES was that it was right after Christmas, and so there was a lot of,
this gives them a little more time.
I know for us, we're going to have a very large presence at Macworld, and there's a lot of planning that we're doing for it, and usually Macworld meant we didn't have a Christmas,
right?
And so I think
that makes sense, and it's interesting. It seems like we're coming to a head here in January. Both the what looks like a Google phone,
right,
which will be a very interesting product if Google actually sells a phone direct, an unlocked phone direct, or maybe a T-Mobile phone that's from Google. I'm not sure what it would be. And Apple, who knows what Apple announced though? In January they could be announcing an iPhone in June. I mean, that wouldn't be unheard of.
It wouldn't be unheard of, although I think that. Go ahead, Andy.
I was just going to say my two candidates are one would be a tablet. There's been. So it's not so much the quality of the rumors that are flying around over the past couple of weeks, but the velocity of different data points that makes it Wall Street Journal,
right? Exactly.
Great news. New York Times. But it's each of them has one little bit of new information that they say they've come up with over the past 2 or 3 weeks, and we're talking about the tiny, trivial little slips that could come out, as opposed to, oh well, sure, we have. Well, I was at a copy store in Daytona, Florida, and someone happened to leave off a print job for banners. No, that's not the way these two things come out. But that's one thing I'm looking at. But the other thing could be revamped Apple TV announcing a whole new TV deal.
We're due for that, aren't we?
Well, it is. I just think that I think that Apple would get a pretty hard hit at this point if they. It's hard for them to announce.
Look at their stock price, which has been like going up ever since these rumors started flying about a month ago. Right. And clearly, the stock market thinks that a tablet's going to come out and that it's going to be an iPhone or iPod level announcement that's going to transform the marketplace. And it seems to be. We were talking about it on Twitter with Kevin Rose, who has pretty good Apple connections. And it seems to be that they're pushing the e-reader side of this. Does that make sense?
I think that's
everything I've been hearing. It's. Go ahead. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
Oh, all I was going to say is that I think that in addition to the e-reader, I think that the stuff that they're doing with iTunes related to the LP, the iTunes stuff with the LP, with the extra stuff that you can get, extra interface for movies. I think all of that, and I have no information about this. This is just me making stuff up. Is that if DVD Studio Pro, for instance, was able to author the Apple, or even iDVD or DVD Studio Pro is able to author the LP as well as the movie stuff, and then you had a little player to do it, then Apple really has this vertical market that's coming together.
Don't they traditionally announce a new iLife right around January? So you announced a new iLife.
I think iLife.
It hasn't. It was every year, and you're right.
It's really every other year.
There was a delay between the two, but this would be a sensible new app for the iLife, or an improvement to iTunes,
or improvement to iDVD or DVD Studio Pro.
Maybe just
who cares about DVDs anymore? Yeah. I mean, that's
you're right. You're right. Authoring a DVD. Are we ahead of? I think though. This is something I've been kind of starting to think of, is that things are happening so fast now that the population of the world lives in different time zones, different eras.
Yeah.
So you and I and Andy, we're kind of all ahead of the curve, the people who listen to this show, the people who host these shows. We're in the future. We were talking the other day about why would anybody use a Yellow Pages? Well, I think probably the majority of people still use a Yellow Pages.
Really?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying, is that you and I and Andy are not living in the present.
I have to admit, yesterday we were talking on This Week in Media, and I was saying, do people actually still use antennas?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think people still make DVDs, but we're kind of a little ahead. So I think we're living in the future.
The sales of DVDs have been dropping pretty.
They have?
Yeah. They peaked a couple years ago.
Nobody's buying DVDs anymore?
Not nobody, but less.
Not nobody?
Not nobody, but it's less. Yeah. It is definitely on the decline at this point.
Andrew,
I was just going to say that's backed up by the problems they're having even pushing Blu-ray. When it was first conceived, the marketers thought, oh well, of course we'll let them have their $20 DVDs, but if they want Blu-ray, well, of course we'll make them pay a premium price for that, and then
of course
it'll be completely unbreakable. And now we're down to the Blu-ray is $22.
Right.
You also get a DVD copy.
Right.
You also get a digital download copy. Please buy. Please buy. I'm so close to being fired over this. Please buy up on DVD and for Blu-ray.
I want to do a podcast called Time Travelers, where we come to you from the future.
We've been talking about doing that. We want to do.
We come from the future. In the future, there will be no DVDs or Yellow Pages. Yeah. You will be using a cube embedded in your forehead.
Little handheld videos of someone who got into the future and sent this back to us.
Let's do that. Oh, that's a great idea.
Okay, so yeah.
Oh, that's a great idea.
I was first online to get Godfather Part 4. I look forward to enjoying this in comestible form. Robert Duvall, they got him back.
Leave the gun. Take the cannoli. We'll return with more in just a bit of Time Travelers from the Future on MacBreak Weekly. But first, hey, you want... Oh, he's still eating The Godfather. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh! And we have a title.
Eating The Godfather. I want to mention our friends who live in the future the future of websites, that is Squarespace.com. Squarespace is a great place to get your website going. In fact, if you've already got a website, they make tools available to import very easily into Squarespace, so you can try it for free with your existing content. I want you to go to squarespace.com and use the coupon code MacBreak. Squarespace.com, coupon code MacBreak, and you can try it out for yourself. I think we've lost the connection here to my Squarespace computer. There it is. The secret behind exceptional websites: blog, build, host, design, impress. Starting at $8 a month, Squarespace is the easiest way to design a beautiful website. Just ask Alex Lindsay, who
we've been basically slowly rolling all the front ends for our sites over to Squarespace.
Yeah,
it just is.
Do you like the stats package? I think that's so sweet.
The statistics, it's really good. And what I love is I'm sitting there. 2 mornings ago, I'm sitting there talking to someone who is Carolyn, who was kind of running the new running the Pixel Core end of things, and we're talking about the new webpage, and I'm sitting there changing the colors and talking to her about it, and she's changing some, and the idea that we can just do the updates and talk about it without calling a programmer, without going through a process. We can play with it, and it's just so powerful.
Just take a look at places like DaneCook.com, JamieKennedy.com, TriuneFilms.com. These are MarkEchoEnterprises.com. These are GwenBell.com. These are sites designed with Squarespace templates, modified, and they're looking fantastic. There's an iPhone app that's the best to post. The Copenhagen World Wildlife Federation Climate Summit site was created in Squarespace. That's cop15.panda.org. Of course, our friends Tom and Veronica do their Sword and Laser podcast site. Look how gorgeous this is at squarespace.com. The neat thing about Squarespace sites, you can't look at them and say, oh, that's a Squarespace site. They all look hand-designed and unique, and I love that. Whether you've got a photo business and you want to show off your pictures, or you've got a blog, or maybe you've got a podcast, squarespace.com. Use the code MacBreak Weekly, or I'm sorry, just MacBreak, and you'll get 10% off. But you can try it free for 2 weeks without even a credit card. Just go to squarespace.com.
It's definitely worth a try. Just open it up. It's free. There's no credit card. There's no sign up, and it's really worth just seeing if it's something that would work for you.
I was so glad when the iPhone app came out. It's just such a great way to post.
Yeah.
Just couldn't be easier. We've got our Inside Twit, our corporate behind-the-scenes blog is on Squarespace. It's just fantastic. So Nokia is getting a little feisty. Did you see this? They've been, first of all, they were suing over feisty. They were suing over the iPhone, right? They filed against Apple, claiming that the consumer electronics giant was infringing its wireless patents with the iPhone. Now they filed a complaint with the International Trade Commission, alleging that Apple is infringing. This is from Mashable.com, an article by Barb Dibwood. That Apple is infringing Nokia patents with almost every product it produces, from the iPhone to the iPod all the way to its line of computers. They list 7 different patents in the complaint relating to innovations in user interface, camera, antenna, and power management technologies. Paul Mellon, the company's general manager of patent licensing, said this action is not about protecting the results of such pioneering development. I don't know where he's from, so I'm making up a non-specific accent. While our litigation in Delaware is about Apple, where do you think that's from? I just made that up. It could be anywhere, right? It's a Eurotrash accent. While our litigation in Delaware is about Apple's attempt to free ride
a little more French in there
on the back of Nokia investment in the wireless standards, the ITC case filed today is about Apple's practice of building its business on Nokia's proprietary innovation.
I think the big issue is Apple is infringing on Nokia's ability to sell smartphones.
Yeah, no kidding.
Theirs is cooler.
They're terrified.
Yeah,
they're terrified.
Well, for a lot of these companies,
and by the way, Apple's countersued, saying,
"Yeah."
I think the technical term was
in Latin.
I think there was some fingers. There was like a
up yours.
Yeah,
a fart in your general direction, Nokia. They claim that the Finnish mobile device maker is infringing on 13 of Apple's patents. Good Lord. You can go to Engadget. There's a 79-page PDF that you can read. It says, In dealing with Apple, Nokia has sought to gain an unjust competitive advantage over Apple by charging unwarranted fees to use patents that allegedly cover industry compatibility. That's a Cupertino accent.
No, the layman terms for that is they're being big jerky jerks.
Jerky jerks, and by seeking to obtain access to Apple's intellectual property.
Big
so
stupid heads.
Who's right here?
Who knows?
Who knows?
It'll depend on what judge or what jury or whoever is sitting in front of it. It's all, they're all splitting hairs, and someone will end up paying somebody else $1 billion, and then we'll call it a day.
Stop it. It's what happens when you feel you can't compete.
Yeah.
You sue.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
That is what you do. Well, or that you want to,
maybe they feel they're legitimately being infringed
It does
on.
seem like a law. Especially that it took so long for them to get around to the suit.
Oh, now you tell us the Macintosh infringes.
Now that your sales have been dropping.
This is the classic slip and fall lawsuit at Walmart, saying that, I know that I'm not going to win the $18 billion that my lawyer is asking for, but I know that they'll give me $80,000 to go away. And maybe, in Nokia's case, maybe it'll hassle Apple just enough to maybe do something productive.
Apple's saying they want
business writers. It also gets business writers writing about them, talking about Nokia technology.
Yeah,
when was the last time anybody talked about Nokia technology? It's kind of what the lowest low that Nokia has ever hit is the fact that I have seen more positive buzz around the media packaging for the N900 phone than for the phone itself. Did you hear about this?
No, I have an N900, and I do like it very much, although I don't like it so much that I didn't give it to my daughter to take to France with her.
But for a number of different bloggers and columnists, what you got was not just the usual cardboard box with the consumer packaging. You got a black Borg smooth cube with no buttons, no lights, no nothing, just a tiny mini USB port on it. And if you occurred to you to say, okay, I'll plug this into my Mac or my PC and fire up a terminal and see what it does, you get a sort of a Unix prompt. If you know what commands to enter, it'll say, here are the available commands. And they say, okay, what if I say box open? There is a click, the box pops open, there is a puff of smoke that emerges from the box. You open it up, and that's how you get to the phone.
Did you get this?
Well, it only went to the most exclusive and respected. So, of course, I got 3 of them, as a matter of fact.
I had to buy. I'll tell you where I am on the totem pole. I spent $600 to get a 900, and I didn't get no cube.
That had smoke.
There are videos of this. It's the most. And sometimes you do get these elaborate packaging things just to make sure that you actually pay attention to it. But it just occurred to me that you kind of buried the lead. No one was talking about the technology of the phone. Everybody was talking about, hey, here's the most awesome unboxing video ever, and it is the most awesome unboxing video ever. I mean, I would return the phone. I definitely would not be returning the box because it seems like a good place to store knickknacks.
Well, there's something that wrong with your product when you're willing to return the phone, but not the box.
I'll review the box.
Yeah, I'll keep the box. Let me see. Here's the unboxing video.
By contrast, when Apple ships the Slate, it's going to arrive in like a plastic Walgreens bag. Yeah, it's like we really weren't thinking about the packaging. We were really focusing on the product.
But it's recyclable.
That's true. I have to say, if you've got a great product, you don't really need the. Yeah.
And what's amazing is Apple's product packaging is generally really, really nice, but it's not like I save it.
Let me.
I always just open it and going, wow, they thought of everything. So it's usually that, like when you open the box and you go, oh, and then this thing, and then you're always like, wow, they thought of that, and then I throw it away.
Here's the hacker box.
Here it is.
Yeah. From unboxings.com.
From tracymac.co.uk, and here I have a large black cube.
It's beautiful.
Nokia.
Piano black.
You may be wondering what it is, as I was a couple of days ago when I actually received it. It weighs a good couple of kilos.
This is brilliant. I love the USB port on it.
Shiny plastic.
First thing you do is you plug it in, right?
Way of actually opening it. It kind of looks a bit like a bass speaker, but for the fact that it has a mini USB connector on the front and not a lot else.
Oh,
a couple of rubber feet on the bottom,
mini USB,
but not a lot else to give away what's inside. So what we have to do, in actual fact.
And it's great that the guy has a British accent. It makes it much more interesting. In actual fact,
more official
what we've got to do is plug it in. Yeah.
Laptop. Now,
yes, get your laptop.
What we actually have to do.
Yes.
This is actually
what do you have to do? Yes.
We actually have to hack in.
Oh my.
Box to get to the content.
Well.
So
Let's
that actually
see.
requires us to use.
Can you use Windows, or do you have to use Mac?
I think I'd already be.
It'll work with anything that has a terminal. What I was trying to figure out is, does it appear as a mass storage device to give you any clue as to what to do? Because probably my first guess would not be I got to go through the terminal.
No, I wouldn't launch a terminal. Yeah. This is really.
I'd like to think
look.
that I'd get there eventually. Right.
It's, oh my goodness! It gives you a Nokia prompt
Wow.
in ASCII.
What a pain
It's a
in the
terminal
ass.
text, right? It's like a VT100.
Oh, that's hysterical.
As you can see here, I'm just
I wonder. So who
There's no
got
way I would've
these?
done this.
I would have loved to have gotten one of these.
arguments that
I would have been
We
just like,
apparently
what is
don't
wrong
rank.
with these people? The reason they didn't send me one is I'd be like, what is wrong with these people?
I'll send you one of the 7 that I got.
Oh, is 7
Actually,
now?
I do put up a sign before the show starts to say UPS don't ring the doorbell. There's probably another 3 by the door right
Who
now.
knows? Right? Yeah.
I'll just put a new address label on it. And,
I actually just type that in.
Okay, he's typing in the command now.
Initiating sequence, and I'll move out.
Initiating sequence. Oh my gosh! It popped open.
Complete with. I don't know if you can. Really
There's
see
smoke
that.
coming out of it.
A small amount of smoke
Oh, this is brilliant.
coming out of the box. We'll
always
disconnect that now.
always a bad sign. if something arrives to me like it's already smoking, I'm like,
That's
you know
not
what?
a good thing. That's
Maybe I
not a
won't
good
dock
thing.
this to my
Yeah.
to one of my good computers.
Well, I like the N900, but it is not. It's MAMO 5. It's Linux, and it's not as responsive. It's the same processor as in the Pre and the 3GS. It's that Cortex A8, and it's not super responsive. You have to use really a stylus because it's such a high-res screen. There's a lot to be said for it, but I'm sorry, it's not an iPhone. It's not even a Droid.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
But it comes in a nice box.
But isn't everybody's problem right? I mean, is anyone really? I mean, I guess that this new Google Droid maybe is more competitive with the iPhone, but it just seems like everybody I talk to.
I
what
think the
happens
Droid
somebody
is
gets-
darn close, and I think this Nexus One may well do it. We'll see.
We'll see.
It's an App Store issue,
Yeah.
and they're getting close. They've got Evernote on there. They've got a lot of the Foursquare. A lot of the apps that I use are now on here.
Do they have
LastPass.
GeoDefense
You know what? Gaming is not good
on the Droid?
on the Droid. No Geo Defense.
Forget it.
No,
Forget it.
it
That's all I'm
doesn't
saying.
even have Bejeweled.
Well, you know,
I mean, come on.
Bejeweled isn't that important to me, but the GeoDefense is a real,
Well,
you know.
Bejeweled is the Geo Defense of the 90s. or the last decade. We did a whole thing. In fact, you did a great video, Alex, on Twitter of it's the end of the decade.
Oh,
and
that turned out really
what
well.
the big stories of the last 10 years were and so forth. I didn't hear from you, Andy. What do you think the big story, Apple or otherwise, of the last 10 years is?
Of the last 10 years, it would probably have to be Unix, because now every single device of any note is Unix-based now.
Even the iPhone, really, isn't it?
Every major operating system, every time there's a brand new device that comes out, of course, when I say Unix, I mean Linux, but I just want to tip of the hat to the core that started it all. I can't remember the last time that I saw a major device, not just the laptops, but a book reader, a phone, a music player, that when you dig deep down, it's using it's using Unix or Linux at its core. And so of course, it's very, very tempting to also go with, well, of course, it was the iPhone. Of course, it's the concept of the App Store. Of course. But every time I come up with something like that, it turns out that, well, what powers that? Linux. Okay, cool. Let's give it to Linux, which is amazing because the last thing you would think about in the year 2000 is Linux as the core of consumer devices, because even in 2000, it was the most. It was that pony that did not want to be broken. It wanted to kick the face in of every cowboy that tried to throw a saddle over it, and it was the most untenable, unmanageable device, untenable operating system for anybody who wanted to do anything productive with it. So I think that's probably the big story of the last 10 years.
And I mean, OS 10 is Unix based, BSD based.
I mean, technically,
presume the iPhone
OS 10 is the largest distribution of Unix in the
yeah.
world, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's real Unix. It's not even Linux. It's real Unix under the hood there. Huh.
Just do a top and a kill, and you'll know that it's really Unix.
You're right, Andy. I hadn't really thought of that, but you're absolutely right. It is the decade that Linux or Unix, in Linux and other forms, emerged as the dominant operating system everywhere but Windows.
Right.
Yeah.
So we can actually say that they're the minority operating system.
They are now.
They're the only ones who are thinking differently now.
Windows, think differently.
Here's to the crazy ones.
Here's to the operating system that wasn't invented in a university by eggheads. We're going to actually, I want to talk a little bit about an interesting contention that Apple will, in fact, have 3 operating systems in just a second. Before we do that, though, I do want to mention our friends at Ford. I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to say Ford. They told me, we just want to call it Sync because it's not just Ford's. Let's make this very clear. It's on Ford, Lincoln, and Mercury vehicles. Sync is the voice-activated technology that just transforms your experience in your car. Voice-activated Sync is hands-free calling, music and podcast search, turn-by-turn navigation. You can find out more at syncmyride.com, and we are going to be going to CES. They're supporting our CES coverage live from Las Vegas next week, January 6th through 10th. Our CES team is going down in a Ford vehicle. I think we're going to do a Lincoln. I'm sorry, not a Ford, a Lincoln, the MKS. Everybody's going to be down there. Paul Thurrott, Dick DiBartolo, Ryan Block, Will Harris, Dr. Kiki, and I. Alex Lindsay will be there.
We're Ford is also underwriting or Sync is underwriting our shooting for MacBreak.
Excellent.
Video. So we'll be shooting, I think 15 episodes.
Sync's got something big to announce there, by the way. The CEO of Ford is going to be making a speech, and we're going to talk to the head of engineering at Sync. What are you laughing at, Andy?
I'm thinking it's an invite-only event. Underneath everybody's seat, a brand new Mustang.
You got a new car!
What the? Hey!
That would be good. Oprah did that.
Keys.
Remember
the
Oprah
keys
did
would be
that?
fine. The keys would be fine.
Yeah, Oprah did that. Everybody in her audience got a new car. Remember that?
Man,
I would
why wasn't
like to.
I there?
We could do that. Everybody in this room is getting a new car. Hey!
Thanks.
Kevin and Chris are very happy
Maybe
now. They just showed up. Their girlfriend's not so happy. Chris's girlfriend's not so happy. But so we're going to have a lot of fun. Listen and watch live January 6th through 10th, live.twit.tv. We have a new feed, a Twit Live at CES podcast. You can download daily summaries in iTunes. And, of course, for more information about Ford Sync, give it a try. You're going to love it. syncmyride.com. We are very excited. We thank Sync for supporting our trip down. And I can't wait to tell you what's new in the Sync. It's very, very exciting. syncmyride.com. Andy, you're not going to CES?
I'm not going to CES. It was a complicated decision that started off with, dude, $1,200.
Yeah.
Dude, $1,200. Yeah. And also went with, but the closer was really, dude, for the first time, literally in your adult life, you have the ability to not have to prepare for a huge week-long trade show over the holidays.
So exhausting.
And you want to screw this up.
Yeah. So you you would normally do Macworld, not CES.
Normally I would do Macworld, not CES.
Right.
CES is a tough show for me to cover because with CES, you can cover it if you treat it as one show, if you treat it as just a phone show or just a television show, just one area of consumer electronics you want to cover aggressively, you can do it. For a guy like me who writes about general technology, just going from invites I've gotten through the mail from not being a participant, there are 3 things I would want to go to that are all taking place either on the same afternoon or they're so close to each other, so far apart that I'll never be able to get to the 3 things I want to do at that time. I'm going to think about it I'm going to think about it for next year because it's been. I think I've went to CES twice in my lifetime. It's such a hard sell for me.
I haven't been, of course, since 2004 because of Macworld. To be honest,
yes, right.
We couldn't do both. And so that's why I'm going for the first time in 6 years.
I've never been to CES because it conflicts with
it's so
Macworld.
much fun. It really is fun. Andy, we'll make sure you get to go next year. I'm sorry we didn't plan this better, and we'll bring you next year.
That's okay. Again, that way I can, I usually spend New Year's Eve and New Year's Day drinking alone, quietly thinking to myself of all the mistakes I've made the previous year. I'd probably still be coming off of that buzz by the 4th or the 5th. So
sounds good. I could be doing that too.
I probably worked out for the best.
All the places I screwed up. In 2009.
The faces of those you've wronged floating in front of you.
Yeah.
That absinthe is a hell of a liquor.
We used to have a great tradition. Me and a friend of mine in Denver used to write all the things that we remembered from that year. We'd write them all on pieces of paper, all the good stuff we did, all the mistakes we did, and we'd write these all out and share them with each other, and then we'd throw them in the fire.
Burn them.
Move on.
Even the good and the bad. Burn it all.
Just burn it all.
Burn it all. So I'm trying to find this article. I wish I could, but a very interesting point somebody's making about operating systems, saying essentially what's going to happen here is Apple's going to have a desktop OS X. They're going to have a phone OS X, But this tablet in the middle, really shouldn't be an iPhone because it's going to need to multitask. It's going to have more capability. It should be kind of a third version of OS X for medium-sized devices. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Remember that the iPhone isn't. Apple made a very big distinction. If you start asking them about OS X for the iPhone, they always made sure they made a distinction between Mac OS X and OS X running on iPhone, meaning that it's if you can imagine Mac OS X as a big ship that's made out of Legos, where they can easily break off every part of it that they don't need. So they took off every part of the OS that has nothing to do with a desktop operating system, put on a whole bunch of it that you would need for a phone operating system. I think that for the Slate of the tablet, you'd wind up with exactly that same situation, where you start off with a core OS X that has nothing to do with a phone, nothing to do with a desktop, and then you add on the stuff that makes sense for a multi-touch tablet.
Yeah. You agree, Alex?
Yeah, no, I think you definitely. I think that they're related. So I think, and this is one of the powers, is why there's so many apps in the App Store, is that they are, some of the infrastructure, the environment, everything else that it takes to create it is related. But I think that it'll definitely be its own. It'll have its own needs. I think it'll be closer to the iPhone than the OS, but I don't think it'll be the same. I think developing for it will be its own thing.
Here's the article. It's from Steve Sandy in the unofficial Apple weblog, tuaw.com. And actually, he's saying maybe 4. He's quoting a fellow Apple Consultants Network member, Michael Kimball, who says, quote, "I've been wondering if Apple, on their January 26th product announcement, won't start to differentiate OS X to include OS X Mobile, OS X Touch, OS X Desktop," and we left out an existing version of OS X Server. Rather than discrete versions of the OS, it's a spectrum where features of one version can, as you said, Andy, slide up and down the scale depending on functionality of the hardware platform. If that's the case, though, it really shows what a great bet Apple made on OS X.
Right.
How flexible OS X is.
How flexible Unix is.
Well, yeah, Unix under the Darwin, essentially, but also all of these Lego pieces that Andy was talking about, like Quartz,
right?
All of these kits, like WebKit.
To say nothing about the simple fact that it was so easy to move it from one CPU to another.
Yeah.
It was impressive enough that they could make the transition from PowerPC so easily, but the fact that they could say, well, now we have a mobile processor. Great, we'll just put on this mobile processor. Well, now we've got this brand new mobile processor. Great, we'll put on this other new mobile processor.
And Apple TV is OS X Tiger running on a very slow Intel processor, but there's nothing to say that Apple might not announce a new Apple TV
and continue to improve that.
And
I think that a great thing again is that the fact that all of this can be built on Xcode, so that's free, and I think
I love it that it comes with it.
Yeah, it just ships with it.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting theory, though, that I'm not sure if Apple would ever break out Mac OS X and promote it as the unifying Latin that connects every single Apple device. I'm not sure how they would sell that to a consumer as an advantage.
I think they'd start with one ring to find them,
one ring to rule them all.
It is something they should probably explain more to analysts and to press, because that is something that really makes it is like the fourth act of a James Bond movie. We find out that no, the villains, the arch villain's plan had nothing to do with simply stealing the gold. It was about irradiating the entire gold supply so that his old holdings were even better. Unbeknownst to anybody else, they've come up with this really, really cool master plan to make it so easy to churn out new devices over the next 10 years. Not only that, but make it very, very easy to convince a developer to please invest in learning how to program in Xcode. You can't simply transmogrify your Mac app onto the iSlate or onto an iPhone, but the thing is, you will not have to learn a whole new set of tools. You just need to learn a whole new set of APIs, and that's it.
Which is why I think that one of the biggest problems they're going to have with the Slate, and hopefully they've kind of figured out how they're going to handle it, is that they're going to have 100,000 apps in 2 months.
Is it going to be called the Slate?
I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying.
Do we
whatever
think
the
that? I find that hard to believe. That's such a crappy name, the iSlate. Do you think
iPhone is it's on the nose? A lot of people were guessing that it would not be called the iPhone
or iPad.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. No, the phone was not going to be called the iPhone.
Oh yeah, you're right. We didn't think it'd be the iPhone. You're right. Yeah.
One of the brilliant things about, or I thought one of the brilliant things about the iPod was that it just looked like a consumer device. They tried to redefine media player by saying we are not going to call this an iMusic device.
Right.
We are not even going to be
pod.
putting a big play button and a big next track and a big previous track button. We're going to say this is a brand new device. Please do not use your old preconceptions when you use this. As far as iSlate, well, I think we're all familiar with all the discovery that's been done by other journalists over the past couple of weeks, discovering that Apple owns iSlate. Apple did it through a dummy company called Slate Computing. Waiting was registered with their usual intellectual property attorneys. There's a pretty strong paper trail going back, but that could mean nothing.
I bet they register dozens of names all the time.
Right, exactly.
Right?
They hold a lot of different names. They also own Tablet Mac or Tablet Macintosh for much the same reasons. So who knows? I mean, the name is going to be the last thing on my mind if I'm going to be if I get invited to a press event in San Francisco and
you're coming to that.
I'll find the money for that, and also the first thing I'm going to be writing down is, now please tell me that it has a cool name. No, I'm going to say, please tell me that I can take one home with me today.
Yeah. I have to say, we have not received any invitations. Nobody I know has received an invitation, so we don't know what's going to happen on January 26th. But even if we don't get invited, we will be standing outside the door with our tongues hanging out. Don't you think?
Saying
it's what's inside.
We're here outside. Evidently, something's going on inside.
We have no idea what.
We're not special enough.
Well, that's the last two events. I didn't get an invite.
Not that we're bitter.
Not that I'm bitter, but what I did is I sent Dane, the great Dane, outside with a cardboard box, a laptop, and a camera. And
cardboard box being the key.
The cardboard box, but that was for the laptop. And a little stool. I think he had a little stool.
I offered something more, but he wanted to. He liked the austere.
Yeah. It looked like he was begging, to be honest.
Yeah.
He might as well had a sign that said, we'll podcast for food or something. But
in retrospect, Leo, do you think it was a little misleading to have him refer to it on air as Twit Mobile Chopper 1? We're here above Moscone Center. We parked above with the other news choppers.
All he had to do was hammer his chest a little bit. All right, we're going to take a break. Come back with your picks of the week, gentlemen. Ready your picks while we listen to a little gangsta rap for all the Mac folks. This is PC Pain. You might recognize the tune here. This is we call it "I'm on a Mac."
Whoa, free MacBook. Now, who should I share this with? Pete and PC Pain. Cool.
Get your laptops ready, it's about to go down. Everybody on YouTube watch the screen, but stay on this page. We running this. Let's go. I'm on a Mac. I'm on a Mac. Everybody look at me, cause I'm clicking on a Mac. I'm on a Mac. I'm on a Mac. Take a good hard look at the Mac. I'm on a Mac. Take a look at me. Straight iPhone and hard, got the 3G. Open iTunes cover flow to be exact. You can't stop me, cause I'm on a Mac. A virus, bro. I'm on a Mac, bro. We rockin' 8 cores hard. Watch the screen go. I got my super drive and my mighty mices. I'm plugging girls, you at work, plugging in devices. I'm on a tandem fixie and a 64-bit. Friends are jealous, cause parallels can run their shit. But this ain't PC, this is real as it gets. I'm on a Mac, but don't you ever forget. I'm on a Mac and it's running fast. And I'm on a neoprene green scuba sleeve shell. I'm the king of the jobs on a Mac for Rio. If you're on a PC, then you're not CEO. Get the go. This Mac is real. Oh, cause soon I'm on the Mac. Oh, right click, multi-touch. While I chat with my boys. These turtlenecks ain't cheap. Hey, y'all know I'm an Apple whiz. I never need to learn what a driver is. Gonna say goodbye to all viruses. Like a nano in pink, anything is possible. Yeah, never thought I'd be on a Mac.
Well, I guess we're all
It's like a streamline before you crash.
just so happy.
I I'd like to help out our listeners. I'm sure not for our listeners, but you can spread it to other people. Like if you're going to be in a bodysuit like that for a humorous YouTube video or Comic-Con, there's a very easily obtained and inexpensive undergarment known as a dance belt.
Yes,
which is normally worn to keep certain details of your, let's say, of your personal life from being broadcast to the entire
world.
You can find it practically anywhere, folks. It's that kind of marred that video.
It did. It's like I'm keep looking down. It's like, ooh.
So it looks like Mr. Mac dresses to the left, does he? Okay.
Aren't you glad you didn't watch this on the video? That is on YouTube. It's I'm on a Mac. You can search for it. PC.
How many views?
Pain. Oh, that's a good question. Let me see if I can.
Cute song though.
Oh, it's cute. You know,
are we going to see like after the next Steve Jobs keynote? How long are we going to have to wait before we see the first auto-tune Steve Jobs song?
Oh yeah. 105,000 views so far, but it just went up yesterday, so that's pretty quick to get 105,000 views. And it's pantless nights. Well, appropriately. Switch to Mac.com. All right, coming up in just a bit, our picks of the week, and you're not going to believe mine. It's, well, you guys know, it's a doozy. It's a doozy. But before we get to that, it's almost as revealing as that video was, actually. Before we get to that, audible.com/MacBreak. That's the place to go to get your free audiobook right now from Audible. Audible is, of course, the wonderful source of audiobooks that we have been telling you about for some time. I hope you've checked them out by now. AUDIBLE. I started with audiobooks, in 1997, I think, when I started, actually even before then, when I had a long commute. I went down to Cupertino for a while to do a TV show for Ziff Davis, and that was like a 6-hour commute. I had to have audiobooks, and I've been listening to them ever since. But when Audible came along, it just transformed my experience, because all of a sudden I could go to a website, audible.com, and browse 65,000 books, pick the one I want, and a minute later have it on my iPhone or my iPod. If you've got a Zune, it works on that. The Kindle, almost any of these MP3 players. Great quality. In fact, there are 5 different now audio types. So if you want a smaller file but lower quality, you can type 1 all the way up to the enhanced, which is perfect quality, CD quality. It sounds so good. Audible.com/MacBreak. And Andy Ihnatko, you, I think, have been browsing through your Audible library looking for something suitable.
Yes, now's the time of month when I get my Audible credit from my Audible Gold account. So I usually I spend a month shopping and putting things into my wish list. This one is a book that I've been looking forward to reading and listening to for a good long time. It's called Googled: The End of the World as We Know It. Yeah. An excellent recent book on the history and the importance of Google. I read the first couple of chapters digitally. I also heard a really great interview with Ken Auletta, the author of the book, and from what I've read and from what I've heard about it from now, it's a great balance between a factual based history of the company, a very insightful look into why it is so important and what this company is up to. But the thing that sets it apart from the rest is the fact that it tries to psychoanalyze the company as a personality. Companies do have personalities. You can think of them as one single person, that there are things that they're capable of doing, there are things they're not capable of doing.
And sometimes they're just psychotic.
And sometimes they are indeed psychotic. Google is like Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory. And that's the point that Auletta makes, in that they often do things that are completely harmful to a lot of different people, but they do it not because they want to harm people, but because they think they're doing what's best. Just like if you ever had like a brainiac, borderline Asperger's roommate who you come home from a trip one day and you find out that everything in your refrigerator, like all the cakes, all the meats have been cleared out, replaced with these really weird little boxes. They say, "Oh, I improved everything in our refrigerator." It turns out that the food that we had was taking up way too much space, wasn't giving us calories and nutrition. So I found this tofu product. I found this mineral enhanced artificial paste gel. And you can't argue with their logic. It does take up less space. It is more nutritious, but that's not what I wanted. That's not something that I really wish would have happened. And that seems to be endemic of a lot of the decisions that Google makes. They will do something like, we're going to give away an operating system. Okay, but it's not a really good operating system. Oh, it's perfectly functional. Yes, but you don't understand why people select operating systems, and you're also making it more difficult for companies like Apple, who want to put together a really good looking forward operating system. It's going to be harder to make the business case to put that to market, but this is so much better. I know that on paper it's better, but, well, all I want to do is help you. I don't know why you're so ungrateful.
Why are you so mean?
That's illogical.
Why are you suing me?
So it's a very, very readable book. Again, I've only read the first 2 or 3 chapters of it.
I love Ken Auletta. I mean, he's written so many great articles about the media for New Yorker Magazine. Many great books. He's a good analyst.
He totally, not only does he totally get it, but he's a really good writer. He understands that I'm not just here to consume information. I'm here to be told a story, and even a story that's nonfiction and totally factual. You're telling me a story, and he does a great job of building this character known as Google.
Googled, The End of the World as We Know It by Ken Auletta. It's unabridged. It's available on Audible, and it's yours free right now if you go to audible.com/MacBreak. But, you could pick any of the books on here. You get basically what happens is you're going to sign up for the Gold account, which is a book a month. Your first one's free. You cancel at any time. You get to keep the book. I have a feeling, though, once you start listening to Audible books, you're going to have a very healthy habit that you will keep for life. I listen to Audible everywhere I go, in the car, at the gym. Even when I'm just going out shopping, I love it. Audible.com/MacBreak. Get your first book free right now. And we thank Audible for their support of MacBreak Weekly. I'm going to do something I rarely do. I'm going to start the pick of the week. Usually I let you guys go first in case we overlap, but I know you're not doing this. I'm the only one doing this. I know I have an exclusive on it, but I have a feeling Alex may be doing it soon.
Oh, yeah.
So I found I was invited, actually. You know Pud? Philip Kaplan, the guy who started Freaked Company, or Effed Company?
Yes.
He has a news site that he's started with a couple of other people called Blippy.com. It's not public yet. I was invited into the private beta, but soon you'll be able to do it. The whole idea of Blippy.com is it's a Twitter that your credit card, your Amazon account, your Netflix announce what you've purchased. So you don't, and then
I don't think that's a good idea for me. There is no way I would make that public.
It's pretty cool. What you do is you follow people just as you would on Twitter and see what they purchase. You can comment on it, you can like it, you can favorite it, but even more, you get some great ideas for it. Includes your iTunes account, so you can see what they're listening to, their Netflix account, so you can see what they're watching. I really like this, and one of the things I saw on it, Pud was buying this scale, this bathroom scale. In fact, he wasn't the first to buy it. About 5 people on Blippy have bought it, and I fell for it because it's such a great idea. It's a Withings, WITHINGS Wi-Fi scale. Now, I should tell you, $159 is not cheap.
I would have bought this in a second when I bought a Bluetooth scale. Now I feel like and that was advanced. It was advanced.
This is Wi-Fi enabled.
If I had known that there was a Wi-Fi scale, I would have left my Bluetooth scale in the trash.
So when you first get this scale, it has a USB port. It's a lot like that black cube actually from Nokia. It's shiny, beautiful, really looks good. You hook it now. It has an iPhone app, and you can configure it with the iPhone app. But if you don't have the iPhone app yet, you can also configure it using the USB port. Connects to a Mac or Windows. You download the software. You set up the Wi-Fi. The scale uses 4 AAA batteries, and now it's on your Wi-Fi network. Now you have an account on Withings.com, and you can share when you weigh yourself. You can share your data. You can share it with other users on the Withings site. You could publish it on the web, embed it on your web page. But this is the part I like. You can put it on your Twitter. I actually created a Twitter account just for my scale, so that people aren't forced to see my weight.
I thought about doing this when I started losing weight, and I should have.
It's a very brave thing to do.
Yeah.
I mean, because, you're living in public here. So I have twitter.com/Leo's scale. And now I only got it yesterday, so it's only got, every time you weigh yourself, it automatically tweets your weight. But it also has a really great webpage that will show you your progress. It also measures your fat, percentage of fat. So, for instance, I know that I'm 29.7% fat, and I should really be getting that down to what, Alex, 10 or 15%? 46 pounds of fat.
12 to 15, I think, is the target.
I'm 46 pounds of fat, only 155 pounds of lean tissue. So I want to get that down. And you see my weight is way out of the range, too. So they show you the range. They show you your graph. You could share it with Google Health, which is kind of interesting. That's one of the things you can link to it, so it can be part of your Google Health record. But I thought the thing that I really... And it's a beautiful scale, by the way. I mean, it's a really gorgeous kind of piano black, shiny scale with a really great readout that's easy to see. And it's the first scale I've seen that has a iPhone app. So you can also, as I said, you can configure it with your iPhone, but you can also go to the iPhone. Let me go to the iPhone here and show you. You can also see your measurements on the iPhone and see how you're doing. And it's a beautiful interface. Now, negative, $159. The other negative is, well, you're telling the world that you're fat.
TMI.
TMI. That's the negative. It's a TMI. But it's really fun. And I think that this is going to incent me because, frankly, every time I weigh myself, there's no button to push on it, by the way. It just tweets.
It definitely helped me because I have to admit that once I started talking about it on air, I felt like there was serious pressure.
Yeah. And by the way, according to my scale, Hartwell says I gained 0.2 pounds in the last 12 hours. At that rate, I should weigh about 330 pounds by January 1st, 2011. It's going the wrong way. But that's, as you know, Alex, it goes up, it goes down.
I can fluctuate plus or minus about 2 or 3 pounds.
Yeah, a couple of tenths of a pound. We're looking for the overall. So follow my scale. It has its own Twitter account, Leo's
Leo's scale is going to have more followers than me by the end of the week.
It's already got 549 followers.
I know. I was like,
this is stupid. And
your scale is following 7 people.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened. It's following the Gizwiz, my daughter, my dog, and Kirsten Sanford. So the scale.
I wonder if you could have the scales follow each other. So then it goes. So then it would say, Leo is doing much better than you.
Scale trash talk. Yeah.
Exactly.
I wonder, does it have like a Don Rickles mode? It'll tweet one at a time. Ha ha.
You could have like multiple. It could show you multiple graphs. Here's where Alex is. Here's where Leo is. Here's where.
Great idea. You can add other people to your scale, by the way. It's not just you. You can have other members of your family, and you don't have to tweet. There is you can totally control.
You calculate combined loss. You guys lost.
That'd be great to have a group and all of
that.
That'd be really cool. I think that's a great idea.
And then what I should do is put electrodes in it so that anytime you go up, it gives you a little shock.
Yeah.
A little reinforcement.
It's a nice UI. I mean, these guys, I think they're in France. Somebody told me they're in France.
And the more you gain, the more you get shocked.
It does. That's how it measures your fat percentage, though, is it does send a small electrical current through your feet. So if it sends a little more through your feet, Alex is having way too much fun planning additions to this scale. I could see you and your son are going to rewire your withings.
No. Here's the next Arduino project. You set up the scale so it's at the top of an incline on top of your treadmill, and so when you step on the scale, it'll just keep, depending on how much you weighed the last time, it'll just keep going until it figures you've lost the amount of weight to get to your next goal.
I do want to. If you are also doing this. Send me an email or something telling me, and I'm going to make a list on my scale with all the other scales on Twitter.
There you go.
Yeah, we have a scale list, so people could follow all the scales.
I'm getting one. I'll get
Pud has one.
I'll get on.
Pud not only owns his own, but he gave one to a friend. So they're. I mean, I think it's an. I know. It's ridiculous. It's just absurd.
I'm just updating that list of things that my grandparents would never understand. Parents would never understand.
No one understands. Parents, I'm telling you, we live in the future. We're time travelers. We come to you from a time.
As a kid, my mom once got really upset that I phoned into a radio contest.
Yeah.
because you're on. Oh, hang up. Oh, for God's sake.
You're on the radio. You're a kid.
You're putting your weight. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, it was a contest?
Oh, it was like a name that tune sort of contest. I won a Marillion album, I believe. Which even then I had no idea who the hell's Marillion.
Marillion, you won anyway. So that's my pick of the week. It is Withings, WITHINGS.com. I got it on Amazon for $159. Withings, at least for Christmas, was offering it for that same price without shipping, free shipping. It's I don't know. You know what's going to be embarrassing is if I don't lose weight.
You've thrown the gauntlet down.
I've thrown down the gauntlet.
That's the way to do it. It's the way to do it.
Your pick, my friend, Mr. Lindsay.
I'm using my pick right now.
I noticed you're holding up your phone. Is that does it have X-ray vision? Are you seeing through my clothes? Are you looking for my underwear bomb? Is that what you're looking for? What is that? Is that the newest thing from the TSA?
Yes, this is evidently all TSA folks are going to have an iPhone soon, and it will it will have an X-ray in it, and they will attempt to keep this private so that the public does not have an X-ray in their iPhone, but it will not work, and then people will be upset. Little kids will be walking around the street going like this. No, so this is quick.com.
Oh, Quick.
So
now,
Quick has been available on a lot of phones. Yeah. And up until today or yesterday or sometime soon, Quick, you could only record something and then upload it.
Yeah, because that's all I have.
What everybody
I
can do.
I whipped out my Quick, and that's all I could do.
You kind of like you whipped out your Quick.
Yeah.
All you could do is
2 words.
upload your packets.
Dance bell.
So anyway, so they.
Another show title.
The show is laden with titles.
So anyway, so this is live though. So if you go to quick.com/Alex Lindsay, not if you're listening to the recording, but if you're going live,
well, you'll be able to see the video that you're recording
of us
after the fact
because
it saves it
and showing it around. So, but right now it's live and it's a little choppy. I think that the bandwidth here is not. The public.
That's because we have 3 other people quicking as well
at the same time. So
everybody's quicking at the same time.
We've got lots of
Keith
quicking.
and Chris Kevin and Chris are both quicking as we speak.
And so there's a lot of quicking going on at the moment. And so anyway, it's it's a cool little app. I mean, I don't know what I'm going to use it for, but I love the fact that if I wanted to, I could pop up a live.
There's
if I was
31
in Iran,
people watching you do this.
This would be awesome. So there's a bunch of people. There have been a lot of people watching, either on and off. It's so choppy right now. I think they just mostly go on and go, "Wow, it's cool," and then they go off. But I'm glad that Quick finally made it to the iPhone, so I want to give them props.
And there's a chat room associated with it.
People can talk about it. Yeah, so it's a slick idea.
I've been using it on the Droid and on my Nokia.
Right, and I think they've had this for a long time. It was just a long time to get Apple to give them the throughput to get it up. I think that was the issue.
Now, one thing that does happen is it's even though if you watch it live and it's choppy, it does record in full frame,
right?
And then upload it. So when you go back to watch it, I think you get better quality,
it's smoother. I think it is. Yeah.
It's highly compressed. That's the negative of it. I mean, it's not super good quality, but hey, it's working. I'm seeing myself.
And when you're in a live situation where you want to do a live thing like this show, and you don't, it's something fun.
We'll be using it in CES.
Yeah, I may try to use it in CES as well, just to kind of show some kind of fun.
I'll be using it in Vegas. In fact, I
need like an Al Franken little hat to wear it. That's what I'm missing right now, like a little neck thing
a little hat with your iPhone
stick out so I can.
Actually, that'd be good if you had it in front of you.
Right.
So it's just as you're walking around.
Yeah, I could. I got.
I think you'd become well known as that guy if you did that.
In fact, I know how to do it too. I have the tool for that.
I think you could just put a Gorilla Pod around your neck.
No. There's a company that makes a little stick that you can actually put a phone on.
I've seen that stick.
And if I put the stick on the, okay.
How can he do it?
How could he do it, folks?
I'm going to work on it.
The Fish crew uses it to stream concerts, says Tyler Curtis. Fish fans.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. You could do a lot of things. I've streamed a lot. In fact, if you go to our page, quick.com/twit, there's a lot of video there, including a video of me dropping my pants.
Ooh.
Not intentionally.
Well, CES will be I'll test some.
People are probably, if you're just listening to the show for the first time, you get a very bad impression of me. Like something's really wrong with Leo.
Of all of us. We're a little punchy today.
Maybe that's it.
It's it's the holidays. This is the holiday show.
Holiday show. We've had a little too much eggnog.
Yeah. Where's the eggnog? I got left out on that.
Alex, thank you for your pick. You just go to the iPhone store and search for QIK. Is it free?
$2.99.
$2.99.
It's fine.
$2. Now it's time for Mr. Andrew Ihnatko and his pick. Andy?
I don't think I've picked this one before. This is in that category of it's the day before the show or the morning of the show, and I'm thinking about what I need to recommend. I'm looking for things, and then I forget to start looking at those icons inside my dock that I've been using every single day, every single week, but never even considered recommending. So my pick of the week is the ABBYY Fine Reader Express Edition for Macintosh. This is my favorite OCR app. I spent over the past several months looking for good OCR apps for just about anything that would work. and been very disappointed because it just seems like this software category just ground to a stinking halt around 2002, 2003, and hasn't moved forward since.
Yeah. Nuance bought everybody, and then that was it. It was over.
Yeah. And the emergence of free OCR engines also sort of stagnated things because now there's not a whole lot of money in developing a really good OCR engine, and I'm sorry, but this is true more often than it is not. Once something becomes open source, the idea of making it easy, simple, and practical stops dead.
Right.
As long as it works, as long as it can be operated from a command line, good, we're done. It's perfect. Let's stop working on this. But that absolutely changed when I came across ABBYY Fine Reader. It's not as good as an iApp, but it's pretty darn close. It turns the subject of turning either a 3-page document or a 300-page book into an e-text or to a PDF or to a Word or an RTF or anything into a very, very simple and streamlined process. You just scan all it. You can do it all within the application. Just scan all your pages in. It will do the OCR in one big long percolation. You walk away for a few minutes and come back, and you have e-text. But what makes it head and shoulders above the others is that if you are trying to process a long document, there is no software that can really do it in one go. Even the really expensive stuff, if you're trying to OCR a book, it's supposed to be smart enough to tell the difference between the page headers and the page footers, the title and the author, the page numbers, but it really is not going to be 100%. Also, if it's one of those books where you're reading along, and then they reproduce a letter, so it's in italics and there's like a date here and a little subscript over there, it's probably going to screw that up too. So the next step is definitely going to be go through this page by page and just help the program along a little bit. Fine Reader does the best job of this part of the process, where you just simply draw rectangles around. It takes very intelligent guesses as to the parts of the page that it's supposed to OCR and the parts it's supposed to leave alone. It does a great job of showing you what it's thinking on a page-by-page basis, and then occasionally letting you go through and occasionally say, oh, no, actually, they screwed up. That's actually just a piece of artwork. Don't try to OCR that. Just include that as a text. I find that if a 300-page document, I can easily process after it's been OCR'd through this interface. I can process a page every 3 or 4 seconds because it's very, very, yep, good. Oh, fix that. Good. Oh, shouldn't have OCR'd that. Good. Oh, that's a table. That's not text. So it makes there's no way to make the process of OCRing an entire book painless, but the goal is to turn it into dull drudgery, kind of like crocheting an Afghan. It's not meant to be an intellectually stimulating challenge. It's meant to be something that a repetitive task that's almost meditative in nature. With this app, it's very, very easy to, after you've got everything scanned in, to just go back in, put on a good movie or a couple episodes of a good TV show, and within an hour and a half, you will have fine-tuned this OCR and turned it into a really good ebook. So that's what it's past the point of my experimenting, and now it's every time I've got a long book that I want to put on my Kindle or I want to put on my iPhone, I just use this tool and I expect it to work. It's $99. It's not freeware, but you definitely get what you pay for. This is an actually useful OCR app as opposed to the free and, well, all you got to do is write a little Python script. No, I don't want to write a Python script. I want a useful piece of software. My pick of the week. There's a Windows version too, so you need to go to products and then look for the Mac version. Right, exactly.
They're very popular in the Windows world as well. Right. Yep. Abby, ABBYY, Fine Reader 10. Hey, Alex, I'm just looking, and there are 2 quicks on the iTunes store. You want Quick Live. And it is free.
Is it free?
It's free.
I must have I bought a time-lapse software right after it. Okay. I got that's $2.99. Never mind.
This one's free.
That's for This Week in Photography next week.
Yeah, so I had on here, and that's what I was trying to do it. Quick for 3GS, but that wasn't it.
It's
Quick Live.
Quick Live. Okay.
So
especially as a free app, it sounds like one of those many apps that I can't imagine a use for it right now, but I will download it and install it because maybe in 2 weeks or 2 months' time, I'll be somewhere watching something happen and thinking, "Damn it! I wish I had the Quick application up and going."
Yep.
I was in Boston for an appointment, a meeting a few months ago. Didn't even know that Obama was going to be coming through town. And well, what do you know? I was sitting on the street corner where the motorcade was passing by.
Yeah, see, that would have been great.
That would have been a cool thing to do live.
You could be an iReporter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I could be Edison Carter.
Edison Carter, iReporter.
So Quick Live, yeah, I think you're absolutely right. It's worth installing, setting up a quick account. It's free, easy to do.
I think playing around with it, I think that there's going to be some, that's the kind of thing, exactly what Andy's talking about.
I've had it for a long time, and I only do it once in a while.
I want to have it available, so if there's a news event that I want to start streaming something immediately, because something's happening, I like the idea that I already have it set up. When those kind of things happen,
No truth to the rumor, though, that they're going to build that into my scale, because that you really don't want that. That's TMI.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have been listening to another episode, another thrilling, gripping edition of MacBreak Weekly. You could find this show on iTunes in audio, soon to be video. We're working on it. After we get back from CES, we will solve the technical issues. There were some. What's happening is that the video that we're putting out plays on the 3GS and up, but nothing below. Doesn't work on an iPod, so we're working on that. But you can get the video, high and low quality, at twit.tv. We're also on YouTube, youtube.com/twit. There's a MacBreak Weekly playlist. And we're getting it now to where it's almost a 24-hour turnaround. We're getting faster and faster. We're working on that. So you can get your video version, your fix of this show. And, of course, you can always watch live every Tuesday afternoon, 2 p.m. Pacific. 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. Live.twit.tv. Alex Lindsay is at the Pixel Core, pixelcore.com, for that great guild of multimedia artists who live, work, and play together. Pixelcore.tv for the many podcasts you do. And we're talking about doing some very interesting new podcasts.
We're stretching
some
out.
Ideas for. A couple of good ones.
Yeah.
That I really like the idea for, but we won't say it because people will steal them.
Not until we do it.
Yeah, we've learned that lesson, boy. Oh, man. Andy Ihnatko at the Chicago Sun-Times, and also, of course, his website, www.cwob.com, the celestial waste of bandwidth. Thank you, sir. All the best to you. We'll see you in the new year. Happy New Year, everybody. Another, what do I say? Get back to work.
Get back to work. Break time is over.
See ya.